So good afternoon, sir. I'm Cal Caballero, and this is my explanation about the individual project. So the first question is, if the variation and deviation are given, how to determine compass error? So to determine compass error, so first, variation. My given variation is 3 degrees east, and my deviation is 2 degrees east. So they have the same name, which means we need to add them to get the compass error. So 3 plus 2 is equals to 5 degrees, and the sign is east, since the two of them, the variation and deviation sign is east. And when we have different names, is we need to subtract them. Example, 3 degrees east variation and 2 degrees west variation. Since they have different names, we need to subtract them, and the answer is 1 degrees east. East is the sign because the bigger number is east. So number 2, if the compass error and variation are given, how do you determine deviation? So determining deviation. So compass error and variation are given. So the compass error is 6 degrees west, and the variation is 4 degrees west. And the variation is we need to always reverse the sign. So since it is west, we need to make it east. They have different names, so we need to subtract them. So 6 minus 4 is equals 2 degrees west. And west is the sign because the compass error have a bigger number than the variation, and its sign is west. That's why we need to follow the bigger number sign. So number 3, if the true bearing and compass bearing are given, how to determine compass error? So to determine compass error, we need to subtract the true bearing and the compass bearing. So the true bearing is 128 degrees true, and the compass bearing is 126 degrees course. So 128 minus 126 is equals 2 degrees, and east is the sign because the compass bearing was the least, or the compass bearing was smaller than the true bearing. So note, compass best error west, which means if the compass was bigger than the true bearing, and the sign will be west, while the compass least and error east if the compass bearing was smaller than the true bearing, then the sign was east. Since my problem is the compass bearing is smaller, that's why we need to put the sign east. So the fourth question is, if the compass deviation and variation are given, how to determine true course? So in this problem, we need to use the correcting way. Can dead man vote twice? So the given was, my given is the compass bearing is 180 degrees, the deviation is 4 degrees east, and the variation is 2 degrees east. So in this correcting way, we need to subtract the westerly sign and add the easterly sign. Since our deviation is east, we need to add them. 180 plus 4 degrees east is equals to 184 degrees, and that was our magnetic compass. And the variation is 2 degrees east, we need also to add them. So the answer of the true course is 186 degrees true. So the fifth question is, if the true course, variation, and deviation are given, how do you determine the compass course? So my given is 186 degrees true, 2 degrees east variation, and 4 degrees east deviation. So, since this is an uncorrecting way, we need to add the westerly and subtract the easterly signs. So 186 degrees true minus 2 degrees east variation is equals to 184 degrees magnetic. And for 184 degrees magnetic, 4 degrees east deviation, we need to subtract them. And the answer is 180 degrees compass course. And that will be the answer for the compass course. And the last one was explain how to update a variation in a compass rose. So if the variation was 0, 7 degrees and 45 minutes west in 1979, decreasing about 6 degrees annually, calculate variation in year 2008. So solution, 2008 minus 1979 is equals to 0029 years times 6 degrees is equals to 174 degrees and equals to 2 minutes is equals to 2 degrees and 54 minutes. Then the variation of 1979 was 7 degrees and 45 minutes west. So we need to subtract them. And the answer is 4 degrees and 51 minutes west. And that's all for my explanation about the individual project of MTech 102.